a lot of people saw ChatGPT, 3.5, we all know the wave of November 2022. But after we talk to actual practitioners, is most people are not just throwing generative AI in the wild. Like, you're not going to just create a chatbot and, hey, customers, go talk to it. I mean, the worst thing you can see happening is like you're one of the large financial companies and suddenly go on a hate rant or a racist speech to your customers, right? Then you're going to be on your front pages of New York Times, which we saw consistently through the survey we've done and the conversation I have with my friends and customers seeing this is the idea of using generative AI to do code review, code generation, right? So a lot of this still is done internally, but it's about productivity. Like, when the customer's like, I wrote everything in COBOL. I don't even know what the heck any of this stuff is. Everybody wrote it, is retired, and they were terrible at documentation. So we're putting this into generative AI, and they're giving us good documentation, actual comments, and now we know what's happening, right? That's super fascinating to me for generative AI. And I think everybody alluded to this, and this is why we are top of mind, is the AI governance side. Like, we are so seeing this as everybody's go, 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 which, the era right now, generative AI, we should be in some ways, but there's also the way we see about it is AI software we're building, proof AI, needs to have a safety belt, right? And that's the way where our CEO and co-founder said this at IBM Think, one of the major conferences was on stage is, everybody feels safer and can go faster when you have a seatbelt. And that's what our software is doing. Have that provenance, have that data understanding to build the guardrails. So we're not doing uncontrolled AI, right? So I think that's a key part. And the other one I push everybody here is, what do you guys see in general AI that people or customers are saying, hey, this is awesome. This is now making me a 3x better, right? The whole idea of $10 billion company using ChatGPT 6, I think it's not realistic, but maybe you can now do more with 10 people development houses you couldn't do with 100 because ChatGPT 5 or ChatGPT now or 4 Turbo can do that, right? So I guess I pose this question to everybody else. Well, I see code review and code generation has been one of the key upticks and success stories here.
Yeah, if I can chime in quickly. So most people, when you say to them, what's generative AI? They say, well, it's like a chatbot. It's like ChatGPT. And because ChatGPT sort of framed it like that, we're still living in that age. But again, it's very clear now that we're almost a couple of years in, that the problem with that kind of a relationship is the human and sort of the human computer interface. If we have to say words and type things, that's blocking. That's really hard. The right approach, we believe, and certainly that's what these enterprises are doing using Mind Studio, is to think of generative AI as something that sort of goes that most of the time humans don't engage with. That it runs sort of on the back end. It's running and it's automating processes and it's generating things and it's analyzing things and it's doing it. And you build it, again, using a tool like Mind Studio, and then you let it run. Humans interact with it when they need to, but humans aren't driving it. Because if you rely on humans to drive AI, by definition, you always have this limitation of how much can human, it's only 24 hours in a day, and then work days, and then how fast can you type, and how do you ask questions, and humans are thinking. The more you can take humans out of the equation, the more efficiency you get out of generative AI.
But you leave yourself open to tremendous risk without proper governance or without supervision. I mean, I've seen AI suggest very very small errors that perpetuate through larger situations. And to talk about code generation, Henry, I'm sure you're very familiar with how it can introduce innocuous code errors that you wouldn't catch unless you're an expert. I've seen people talking about AI as this is something that I could already have done, but this is doing it for me faster, so I don't have to, but I can still check it as an expert. And that's where we get this idea of the segmentation of roles. There's a larger community of people who can interact with AI who don't have expertise, and a smaller community of experts who need to be checking this AI to make sure that its outcomes make sense, make business sense. And so that way, human domain knowledge has never been more valuable in business.
Fully agree. Yeah.
It's the check. It's the safety valve that the AI is not saying something that looks right or is very convincing, I think you said, which is great, but is very much not business relevant or business accurate. That's something that's hard to do. And it was even hard to do back in automation, RPA, as it was introduced. That we make sure we check back and make sure that it's doing the right thing on your desktop. Well, now AI is another level. of safety valve checks with process experts or people who understand the business well, but once again, allowing a larger set of participants to start the process.
Yeah, because
yeah.
I think that last part is also important. Yes, it's about domain knowledge and making sure that what you're doing, that you're sure that that's correct, that you don't have the perpetual mistakes in there. But besides that, it also helps you acquire more domain knowledge, maybe not the specific domain where you're good at, but that allows you to cater for more customers, more cases, more easily, because it brings in that generic knowledge that maybe you didn't have, and that you, instead of that, focused on specific industries or verticals. And now it suddenly becomes easier to tap into, because it's not the most important thing for your business, for example, but it allows you to tackle more domains in a more specific way, to talk the lingo of your customers better.
No, I don't want to jump on the same bandwagon, but yeah, I mean, I fully agree with JM and Carol, because domain knowledge becomes so critical, right? Going back to my example of manufacturing, we had to have, a PhD chemical engineer we hired, and then working very closely with our partners and customers who were, APC petroleum engineers who gave that domain knowledge, because the AI could do anything. Right? It could take sensor data, it can go to temperatures 1,000, Celsius and plug a machinery, which costs millions of dollars, which of course that was mission critical. They didn't want to have. So first thing we did was build these guardrails. But I think this is such a fascinating area right now. AI, some ways, internet made us all some semi-experts in a lot of ways, right? We can all go to some searches and, hey, what's the best restaurant? I used to not know this, right? Now we all go to some type of website and find this. AI is doing that, but you're right? Only the really domain experts who are doing coding, who are the doctors, who are the petroleum engineers, catch the small nuances that's actually going to drive the huge changes. That's going to be either a failure or success. For doctors, a real detection versus something fake, right? I think this is the part I would love to talk with people about, because I see this coming up once again and again. So,
yeah, I think the best, I would say, the impact that AI is making on the BI side is really, in general, I think with the trend we have seen in the big picture, is really everything is getting easier, faster, and also better, right? So, and BI is all about really understanding the data, gaining the insight, and making the right decision. And if you look at that way, AI in particular is boosting that trend. So, and GenAI in particular as well, doing that. So if you look at different aspects, again, to me, it's a little bit of, you see this gray hair, so I'm a little bit pragmatic in this case. And the pragmatic approach that I see in the market that is happening is, if you go too fast and if you go too easy and just unsupervised kind of machine, learning and data training and all of those things is going to be really problematic, because in that case, it may go, from different aspects, data privacy and from accuracy and all of the other things, it may not do well. But if you really think about GenAI, and you mentioned a lot of aspects like code generation, for example, code review, either doing some QA, describing the chart, even creating all of these analytics, so somebody can look at it and say, this is great, rather than I spent hours and hours to create this space. Now GenAI is creating the result for me. I can go through that and then, customize it rather than start from scratch. So all of that will translate to time, and the time that I need in order to create the result. And I see really AI can be very instrumental in that case, and it can really transform BI to a way that we can get better result faster. And that's, at the end of the day, is what everybody wants, to do less and get more.